Hey, Triple Cross. Welcome back to our program. You got your boy here, Casey, here with the Q, the one and only Q, Quintonius Harponium, as sometimes he goes by. We're missing John today, but we're going to keep it fun and have a good time anyway. Q, how you doing, dude?
I'm doing great, man. I'm here to talk about what happened in week 7. So let's get to it.
All right. Hey, why beat around the bush? Let's jump right into our first segment here. We're going to talk about some injuries, whether they happened this last week or there's just some update on some pre-existing injuries. We aren't touching on everything, just the stuff that we see as the most valuable. Maybe some guys who are on our fantasy squads that we've been paying extra attention to. First one of which this guy I've been talking up for a while now, man. This one's a huge bummer. This is not a little nick. This is not dude stubbed his toe. My man, Breece Hall on the New York Jets, breakout rookie sensation, about to be a game changer in all kinds of fantasy leagues, goes down with an ACL injury to end his rookie campaign. You absolutely hate to see it, but it is the nature of the game. Q, what do you got to say about Breece going down for the season?
It is a tough loss for the Jets because I feel like the Jets were on the better half of all the NFL teams right now. Um, all I feel like all the teams that we were expecting to be really solid this season, most of them just aren't doing that amazing. And it's like those teams like the Giants that are just like crushing, and it's like, whoa, like what's going on here? Wasn't expecting that, but yeah, very tough loss. Um, but I'm sure the Jets will figure it out.
I agree with you, man. It's like they are one of those surprise teams that were actually, they're performing okay. Freaking New York team, both New York teams, kind of out of nowhere, doing all right. And it is like the more established, like especially like the veteran QB teams that have been lackluster this year so far, like Tom Brady on the Bucks, Aaron Rodgers on the Packers, Russ Wilson on his new team with the Broncos. Who else am I missing? Like anybody who's basically an established like veteran like style quarterback, their team has been underperforming. Meanwhile, you got Zach Wilson and the Jets doing their thing. So what happens with the Jets now that Breece is over? Because they've been okay on offense overall, but like really it's been because Breece Hall is such a threat. He opens it up for everybody else to get a little bit of work in. Michael Carter seems like he's going to take over this backfield now. What's your confidence level that Michael Carter is going to be able to get it done and step in and be effective and lead this Jets team offensively?
Yeah, well, luckily the Jets staff, they acted very quickly, I'm assuming, and they picked up James Robinson. So
It's true, they
they
did.
they have that as an option as well. Um, but yeah, we'll see. I can't really. I feel like it's a little too soon to tell. What's how it's gonna go down. But I think James Robinson will for sure help, and as well as Michael Carter too. So
Yeah, glad you brought that up because James Robinson's one of those guys. I think he was an undrafted rookie actually, and so this is like the most draft capital that's been spent on James Robinson in his whole career. I think they traded a fifth or a sixth round pick that can become a fifth. I think depending on how Robinson
yeah,
performs throughout this season.
yeah,
I'm glad you brought him up because for anybody who's playing fantasy, who knows what this is going to mean for the offensive weapons of the Jets. Personally, I'm kind of fading all of them for the time being, but I think Robinson is a decent stash. Carter probably going to take on like those third downs and that passing down work, while Robinson is probably the better runner between the tackles, so probably getting the early down work. So, maybe stash both those guys. I don't know that I'd start either in my lineup this week, though.
mhm.
But the bottom line here is: does this derail the Jets season, or are they going to continue on? Are they going to make the playoffs?
With Brees Hall out for the rest of the season, dude, I don't know. It's too soon to tell. They're 5-2 right now, so it could keep going on a positive trajectory. But in all honesty, when you lose your star like that, like it doesn't usually. Unless you're the Cowboys, but they don't have some kind of like all-star backup
They don't.
that can really carry the team in terms of leadership. So
Yeah.
then again, I may be wrong. Like, who knows? we'll see. I don't know. I mean, looking at the record right now, they look solid. But like I said, losing Brees Hall is just so much.
Yeah, they lost the guy who will bail him out. I think that the Robinson Carter committee is fine. They're decent. They're good even, but they're not great like they were with Hall. So I
Yeah,
think the future of the Jets for this season kind of actually falls on Zach Wilson now. Like I said, he doesn't have anybody else to bail him out.
yeah,
Zach, it's your time, man, and it's now or never. And you've had some time in the league. You're about a year and a half in. It's time to
yep.
shine, boy. Like, let's go. And he's shown some flashes, so hopefully he can do it. We want to see the Jets finally have a good season. Moving on now to another guy, another quarterback here. Um, not a totally dissimilar style. Ryan Tannehill. Added him on here because it's kind of like up in the air, I think, right now a little bit. I haven't seen like a definitive report on what's going to happen with our guy, Ryan Tannehill. If you didn't see the game, I believe it was just a ankle, like sprained ankle. I don't know if it's a high ankle sprain, which is usually a little more severe. But he did re-enter the game. Yeah, he missed a drive or something like that, maybe not even a whole drive, a few plays at least. And he came back in, but he was limping. It was affecting him pretty big. And we did see Malik Willis come in, even with Tannehill on the field, and they like fumbled, the little miscombobulation going on a handoff to Willis. I don't know what they were doing, honestly. Did you see any of this game, Q?
Yes, and it's definitely worrisome when you're dealing with that type of those type of injuries with like ankles or any knee injuries on a quarterback, because obviously, prohibits him from moving, or he's kind of like, or they just tend to be a little bit stationary sometimes. So I think, in this case, if we're thinking about, the longevity of where do the Titans end up now without Ryan Tannehill, I'd be worried. I'd be worried. I think Tannehill is a crucial part of this team, not only this year but last year and the years
They were
before.
the
But
one seed going into the playoffs last year. A lot of people forget.
yeah, yeah. So I think it's gonna be. I think he honestly just play it safe. Like if you can get someone in there for these next couple of games, while Tannehill kind of rests up and hopefully get to win at least two, maybe of those games, or even one game. But they're 4-2 right now, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they decide to do moving forward.
Definitely. They haven't looked great, but like you said, the record's okay. If we do see somebody else, it will be Malik Willis, I believe, out of Liberty. He's a different style of quarterback completely. So I don't think they plan to move to him this year at all. But who knows? Every once in a while, you see a rookie come in and he lights it up. So if that young man gets some run, hopefully he does well. We wish him the best. Also wish the best for Tannehill. Speedy recovery. I don't know that he's actually going to miss any time. I think he might just tough it out, but you'd hate to see him get hurt.
I feel like they should give him a game or two off.
I don't know. He came back in that game though, so who knows? It's all over the place. Tough to read the tea leaves. If you got either one in fantasy, just keep up on those injury updates. Next up, moving right along here, Gus Edwards is back, and not only was he back, he was kind of not predicted to take on the workload he did. He was immediately thrust into the RB1 position for a very prominent running team. The Ravens, in case you didn't know where he was. I thought he looked good, man. And as far as I know, Dobbins was placed on the IR, which means he's not even eligible to return for, I think, another 3 games. I think they have a bye in there too, so it's like 4 whole weeks. So I think he's gonna. My take is he's gonna keep it up. He's gonna perform well. He's all systems go in my mind. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's really promising when you see, your running back return and he secures 2 touchdowns for the team. So that is very solid on his behalf. Hopefully he keeps that up because the Ravens are going to need that for sure. I feel like they're right now dude, here's the thing. I feel, and I've said this in the past, that there's at least 2 Ravens losses that they could have easily won. They could easily be like 6-1 right now if it weren't for these 2 losses. Like, and I can't remember exactly which games. They were like early on. I think it was like, who did they play week 1? Like it was one of the first games. I think it was the Was it the Dolphins?
Can't remember off the top of my head. No, but I
Yeah.
mean, personally, I think Gus, the Gus bus, I think he complements Lamar really well.
Yeah.
Different body style, different running style. I think he's actually tailor made for this offense. I always liked him better than Dobbins anyway, to be honest. So
Yeah.
yeah, love to see it. I got Gus in a couple leagues. Wish that man the best. Stay healthy, my boy. And let's move it on. Keep this show on pace here. Next up, I got here is little QB controversy, man, and I'm interested to get your take on it. This is one we haven't really talked a lot about yet. Bill Belichick's Patriots, man. He's been kind of a QB whisperer. He had the greatest quarterback of all time on his team for a very long time. It's been a little lost in the QB area since then, though, and people wonder, like, does he have what it takes to make another Brady at any of these guys? I don't know, man. Mac Jones finally came back this week, and he did not look the part. I don't know if there's any lingering injury. I don't think you can bail him out on that, man. He just looked bad. And Bailey Zappi, the fan favorite, dude's been 2-0 as a starter. Just no draft capital in that guy to speak of. Nobody expected it, but you love that kind of underdog story. He's been 2-0 as a starter. People were calling for him. I think on the first drive, like 3 plays in with Mac Jones looking bad, people were chanting Zappy from the stands. You could hear it over the broadcast. So what's your take here, Q? Who would you go with, and where do you think they'll actually go?
Dude, okay, in all honesty, Bailey wasn't much better. He threw 2 interceptions, so like I'm not, so impressed. And I feel like Mac Jones didn't really, obviously he didn't get the same amount of attempts out as Bailey.
Did you get first shot though?
He did, but it was like I feel like they just pulled the trigger and was like, "Oh, you got to get out of here. Let's get Bailey in there," type of situation.
Yeah.
Like he threw his first interception, and they were just like, "Yeah, you just got to stop." But to be fair, Bailey did throw 2 interceptions, but dude, I don't know. Like I don't know what it is. They're just not on the same page. Especially against the Bears. Like the Bears just played a better game.
It's tough. You can't say that about a lot of games this season. So not a good look for the Patriots.
Yeah, losing to the Bears was just not it.
Justin Fields looking like a running back out there. The segment's not about him, but yeah, I didn't watch this whole game. I saw bits and pieces of it. I saw Mac looking bad. I actually only saw Zappy looking good. I know when he first came in, he looked good, and then he kind of dwindled away. But hey, I'd take a guy who looks good for half of it and then looks bad for half of it over a guy who never looked good to begin with. Plus, Zappy's looked better over the season. I would go with Zappy. I'm Team Zappy here. I'll claim it. I won't make you choose though.
I just don't know. I know Belichick is just they're putting the pressure on him to like figure out who he's gonna choose because obviously teams want to know like who are they gonna go with. But dude, I don't know. Like if I was in his position, I don't know. Like I really don't know what I would do in this situation.
Last question before we move on here. Would you consider the 2 QB, like the QB by committee approach, like he did in this game, basically? Like put one guy out there. If he doesn't do good, don't leave him out there. Just be quick with protect him from himself and get the other guy in there. What do you think? Yes or no?
I would, but I would make it even. And I feel like in this situation, the Bears needed to be that test. If you lose the game, you lose the game. Clearly, they lost the game. Like it is what it is. But I would have given Mac Jones the first half, and I would have given Bailey the second half. And then depending on that, I would have just gone from there. Like I would make my decision. But it's like, dude, Mac Jones only got 6 attempts out. Like that's just not enough for me to judge if like he's,
But to be completely adding context to this, he didn't look good in his other games that he played either. Like Zappy came in and he was the truth, and he bailed this team out a little bit. So I'm Team Zappy, like I said. I think the fact that you lose to the Bears doing this switch your QB up in the middle of the game thing, I think that proves it doesn't work because if you can't beat the Bears doing it, you're not going to beat a good team doing it. So I say roll with Zappy until he shows you he really can't be the guy. Then maybe go back to Jones. But if Zappy's not the guy, I don't think you got the guy on the team, honestly. So
I would agree with that.
I mean, that's where we kind of fall on it. Moving on to something I know we both were interested to talk about. My guy, my new guy, CMC on my team, the Niners. He went out there. He only had a little over 2 days, like 2.5 days to get ready for probably one of the top 3 teams in the league, no matter how you slice it, in the Kansas City Chiefs. He went out there and, the team didn't look all that great. I'll be the first to say it, but Christian McCaffrey looked pretty damn good, I'd say, considering the circumstances. To catch everybody up on the stat line, he rushed the ball 8 times for 38 yards. That's 4.8 yards per carry, as well as catching both of his 2 targets for the 2 receptions, 24 yards. That's 12 yards per reception, too. That's pretty damn efficient as far as running backs go. My big question for you, Q, and my point of discussion here is, does CMC become the backfield, or is this going to be a Kyle Shanahan RB by committee as per usual, where he splits time and he's just kind of the leader of the backfield? What do you think?
I think this is another one where it's like it's tough to tell because he's obviously so new. Like the guy got traded on what, Thursday?
Yeah,
Thursday evening.
Friday, Saturday. Oh, maybe it was Wednesday night. I think it was Wednesday night, maybe.
Wednesday night, maybe. Yeah. So to come in, you only get like 4 days with the team, and just you get thrown into things. I think he did a pretty good job for sure. But I also think the 49ers are going to try to depend on him to, be the backfield instead of like kind of sharing that space. But, at the end of the day, anything could happen. Like the coaches could decide like, nah, we don't want that. Like we want to share it.
I mean, it's literally unprecedented by Kyle Shanahan to do this. Even going back to like his days in freaking Atlanta, it was always Devonta Freeman and Tevin Coleman together, and he brought Tevin Coleman with him to the Niners. He's been back a couple of times since. It's always been at least 2 guys splitting time, but he's never had a guy like Christian McCaffrey. My take on it is he won't go fully on it. The way they play with injuries, and McCaffrey's got an injury history all his own too. I think you'll see, a big chunk of the snaps, probably 80% of the snaps, because even when you're not handing him the ball on a play, the defense has to account for him, which is huge. And he's one of those positionless guys, just like a Debo, kind of like a Kittle, a Kyle Juszczyk. Like we got a bunch of those guys. We're basically taking that trend from the NBA, making positionless offense on the Niners. Once they get that dialed in, it'll be deadly. I'm gonna make that guarantee right now. Assuming the Niners make the playoffs, I think they'll be a nasty team come playoff time, barring any injuries to these guys. But I think he'll probably get like 80% of the snaps. The rest of them will go to Wilson until Elijah Mitchell comes back. Then maybe they go to like a 70-20-10 split, something like that. But I think disproportionately, like McCaffrey will be out there for more snaps, but still Wilson will eat into his work more than 20%. You know what I mean? Like when Wilson's in the game, probably will get the ball a little more often because he's not as effective being window dressing. So.
Agreed.
All right. So moving on to another exciting running back here. We've got another recent standouts. We're calling this portion of the show. Q, I'm going to let you lead this one off. Who is your recent standout? I know you've been jacked up on this dude pretty much all season, but especially lately, he's been killing it.
Yes. So my guy I'm going to have to go with is Josh Jacobs. I think I brought this up 2 episodes ago in terms of it's just a guy that I've had on my fantasy team that a lot of people have, doubted. And I was like, pick this guy up. He's going to get you some points. And lo and behold, he did. He's just been crushing. I think he had the highest fantasy points for like out of every player for week 7. But yeah, the Raiders are really understanding like, okay, we know what this guy needs to do. We know exactly how we need to use him. He's 20 plus carries in the last 3 games, 20 rushes. In the last game, he had 20 rushes, 143 yards, and 3 touchdowns. So that is absolutely perfect. They couldn't have asked for a better running back in this situation. Like, my only question is, and I want your opinion on this, do you think he'll be able to do that against New Orleans defense in week 8?
I mean, this guy, he's heating up, right? Like, this is 2 games in a row that he's been killing it.
3 games, actually.
Is it 3 games in a row? Okay.
Yes.
I mean, so he's officially on fire, right? Like, those are the rules we go by. That said, like, it's like, I mean, nothing against the guy. This is kind of an impossible like efficiency to keep up like for too long of a time span. You're gonna have some duds in there. Not saying he's gonna totally fall off, but like to expect a guy to repeat this performance again is like, whoa, man, like that's pretty tough. Plus, they got a decently stout D line there in New Orleans, so I don't know that I'd have the same confidence that he's going to do this again. But like, obviously, if you've got Jacobs in fantasy, like he's an automatic play him every week kind of guy.
Oh
like,
yeah, he's
no doubt
at
about
that.
it. He's your RB1, unless you got something crazy going on in your RB room for fantasy.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. So next guy I wanted to. Did you cover everything there that you wanted to on Jacobs?
Yeah. No, we're good there.
Cool. All right. Next up, I got a 2-pack of quarterbacks I want to call out real quick. The first one, Tua. Tua is back. This is kind of like people returning. There's a theme that people are coming back this episode. But Tua actually looked good in his comeback. I got his stat line here. Tua was 21 for 35. That's a 60% completion percentage. 261 yards, only one touchdown through the air, at least. I don't think he had one running either. But he led the team to victory. And that's, I mean, I don't know if everybody counts wins as a QB stat, but it's hard to separate the two. When the team's winning, you know, why push the envelope and pass too much? I think this was a good game by Tua. You know, he had a couple runs where he lowered his shoulder, and he got some flack for that because they're like, hey, man, like, what are you doing out there? You're not protecting your brain at all. I think he did what it took, though. This guy's a gamer. You can't take the game out of the guy, even when you take the guy out of the game. So, like, he's going to play the way he plays ball, and he's going to win some games for this Dolphins team, man. They look like a totally different team with him at the helm. What do you think is in store for Tua? Is he going to protect himself well enough, or is he just asking for a re-aggravation of the back or the head injury? And are the Dolphins going to keep this up and just stomp on people all the way to the playoffs? What do you think?
Yeah, I think they obviously could have done a better job, to be honest. Considering the Steelers played a terrible game, but still held them to 16 points. You know, Kenny Pickett, you know, obviously this is not about him, but he threw 3 interceptions. So I think they could have easily capitalized off of that. And Tua had an amazingly solid game. Like it was a really good game.
It's a good way to describe it.
Yeah, like he looks like he hasn't missed a step. So we'll see if he can continue that. Like I said, it was against the Steelers, so I'm not so impressed. But yeah, we'll see with their upcoming schedule.
I agree. So now moving on to the last standout of the week, probably the most impressive. I mean, you said Josh Jacobs was the single highest scorer in fantasy. That's probably not counting quarterbacks, because I can't imagine the league settings you'd have to have for this guy not to be number one, the way he lit it up out there. Joey Burrow of the Cincinnati Bengals. You know, it's been a rough start to the year for these guys. They were 3-3 coming into this game, you know, which isn't terrible, but when you make the Super Bowl, you hope to start the next season off hot, and they've been looking bad. Not like a good 3-3 team, a very bad 3-3 team. O-line has been non-existent. The defense has been kind of hit or miss game to game, and the offense has been looking lethargic until week 7. They kind of abandoned the run a little bit. They put Joey B back in shotgun, and they said, do your thing, man. You know what? Like, we're the coaches. We make the game plan. Usually that hasn't been working. You go play backyard football with your guy, Jamar Chase, with your other guy, freaking T. Higgins, and your other guy, Tyler Boyd. All three had pretty good performances, but Joey's stat line here was 34 for 42. That's an 81% completion percentage, 481 yards, and 3 tuds through the air, 138.2 quarterback rating. I think quarterback rating can be little, like, who cares about it? It's not a perfect stat by any means, but it does speak to, like, this was a great game by this dude. What do you think of the Bengals? Are they finally on the rebound? Are they back? Are they primed to actually make a deep playoff run, or was this a flash in the pan and we're going to see more of what we saw for the first 6 weeks? What's your take?
I mean, it's a good start. I wouldn't necessarily say that it's like, oh, they're back, but
if you have Joe Burrow in fantasy, are you selling high after this game, or are you hoping for more of the same?
100% holding. Like, the
really?
man had Man had the game of his life.
Yeah, but
481
he's
yards.
probably been losing you weeks if he's your quarterback in the first 6
Oh
weeks.
yeah,
You
he
know what I mean?
probably
So
has,
like,
but he definitely did make up this week for sure. And another
let
thing
me
that
ask you
makes
this:
me happy.
if you had a trade on the table after this performance, the Lamar Jackson owner will trade you Lamar Jackson for Joe Burrow. Rest of season, who do you like better? It's a former MVP out there.
I'm gonna have to take Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, I
He's gonna
mean,
get he's gonna give me more points for sure. But I mean, if we're talking about who's gonna win me games, then that's a different story. Probably go Joe Burrow. But if we're talking about who's gonna get me more points, 100% Lamar. He's gonna
I
run
got you.
that in every time.
A little more explosive on the Burrow side, but Lamar's a little bit more consistent, probably because of his rushing floor. You
Oh
know,
yeah,
fantasy scoring is a little broken for quarterbacks because if they run the ball, they're
it's
just going to
just
be okay every week, basically, and
exactly.
sometimes amazing. So
Yeah,
I'm with you
exactly.
there. I think I'd stick with Burrow, but I'd be nervous, right? I'd have palms sweating because I think this is in them, and I think based on the results of this, the coaching staff is going to get out of the way. You know, like they're going to be like, "Hey, clearly we don't know what we're doing. We just need to give our guy the chance to make some plays out there."
Yeah,
This was the first time.
I'm also not super confident in Falcons defense either. So
Fair enough. They're a better run defense than they are pass defense for sure.
yeah,
You can
yeah.
pass on them.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, can he do it against a better defense? We shall see. We'll kind of leave that for the next section when we do our picks and see what we kind of forecast for some of these guys. So with that, moving on, we are to our picks section here. So let's see here. Let's go ahead and let me give an update. Oh, actually, I did not compile our stats from last week, but I think generally speaking, John is still the best picker of the bunch right now. So this is our chance to try to catch John Q. I want you to lead us off. Let me pull up the schedule here for next week. Week 8 NFL schedule. And we'll take a look at this all together, guys. All right, here.
Yes.
All right. Should have definitely had this prepared. That's on me. That's on me. You know, I'm not afraid to admit it when it was on me. All right. So we got this. Let's go to this other view that we like. Huh? I like that one better. All right. No, that looks worse. All right. So Q. First game of week 8. I'm gonna make you go first here on all these because it always ends up being me by default. So first game of the week, Thursday night. That's a couple days away still. We got Ravens at the Bucks. So we got both teams kind of underperforming so far this year. Completely different team builds. Who do you have in this game, dude?
I'm gonna say the Ravens. I just think they have not been performing. I'm gonna say the Bucks have not been performing the way I expected them to perform. And they can just do a much better job than what they're doing. So yeah, I'll go with the Ravens.
All right. So Q has the Ravens, and I was on the wrong tab. I have the Bucks, and John is not here, but I do have his picks here with us, and he also took the Ravens with you. So it looks like an island game for me. I think this is honestly a get right game for one team or the other, and I guess now I'm just hoping it's the Bucks, right? Like, I mean, I'm holding Brady in a few leagues still, been clinging on. Too much talent on that team to be bad for too long. You got to figure they're going to figure it out at some point, but will it happen this week? I don't know. So, all right, we got a game there. Next one, we got Broncos at Jags. Q, who do you got?
Jaguars, 100%.
I have the Jaguars as well, and so does John. Yeah, I don't even know if we're getting Russ back this game. I don't know if it would matter anyway. Jaguars look okay. Even when they lose, they look okay typically. But I like what I'm seeing out of Trevor Lawrence. So
yeah,
All right, moving right along then. So we got Dolphins at Lions. Who you got here, Q?
I got the Dolphins. Yeah, I
Okay.
got the Dolphins with Tua back. We got good company.
So no shocker here. I also have the Dolphins, and so does John. I'm curious, what do you think the score is going to be in this game? Because the Lions have been known to like let some big scores happen, and
I
Dolphins have
know.
been known to put up big scores.
I think I think it's gonna be Dolphins 32, Lions 27.
Dang, that's
Mm,
that's
that's
that's a high
actually
scoring affair, and I'm with it. I think it's going to be something real similar to that. I like that prediction.
no, no, no.
Uh,
Actually, I think they're gonna go lower. I think Dolphins 32, Lions like 21 or something.
okay, it's still good. Still a high scoring game.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Lions have been that team giving up a ton of points, and then they typically find themselves putting up a good amount of points, but still like a score or two away. So I'm with
Yeah.
it. I like that prediction. Next up, Panthers at Falcons. Who you got here?
Ooh, no CMC. That's an easy Falcons win.
I don't know, man. The Panthers looked so good last week. What was going on there? They looked good for the first time ever after they unloaded all their superstars and they're playing
Yeah.
PJ Walker. Like, I don't know how they did it. They look great. DJ Moore, finally, maybe this is the guy he needed at quarterback the whole time. Who knows? I hope they pull it out because you hate to see a team just start tanking this early. Not that it's so early. They look bad, but they looked
They
great
got
last
their
week.
round picks.
Yeah, man. All that said, yeah, I'm taking the Falcons too,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, and who even knows who's playing quarterback next week? Is it Baker? Is it Sam Darnold? Is it PJ Walker? I don't
No.
know. I don't even know on the other side. I'd like to see Desmond Ritter take over the Falcons because, like, is Mariota doing something that he can't do? Like, he's not the reason they're winning games, bro. I don't know.
Nah, not at all.
I'm a little over the Mariota experience, but anyway, we're in agreement there, and John is with us as well with the Falcons. So moving on here, Cardinals at Vikings. What you got?
I got the Vikings here. I think it'll be a really good game because it's my boy back,
Which one's your boy?
the all-star GOAT receiver himself off of his
Oh
suspension.
yeah, Hopkins came back last week. And he
Okay,
was
he came
looking
back
good.
last.
He was talking
Okay, good,
Kyler off a ledge. He was just putting
good.
hands all over DBs. He was making catches. He was
It's
doing his
gonna
thing.
be a good game. It's gonna be a good game for sure.
I agree. I actually agree with you who's going to win this game, too. I think the Vikings are the more complete team. I think they're better coached. I don't know that they're similar in talent, even. You know, maybe the Cardinals are more talented, but I don't know. They got to win more games before I really give them that because, John's with us with the Vikings. Anyway, here's a little mini game in this one. Who's going to have the better stat line, DeAndre Hopkins or Justin Jefferson? Two alpha
Uh,
receivers looking good out there.
Dang, that's gonna be a tough one. I'm gonna have to go with Justin Jefferson though.
By the way, I sent you a trade offer, including Justin Jefferson for CMC in one of our fantasy leagues. So I mean, check that out.
Oh,
It hurt me to even include that man, but check it out after the show. I got to get me some CMC. When he was on the Panthers, I didn't want a thing to do with him, but now in all my fantasy leagues, I have no shares of maybe the most exciting player on my favorite team. Like I got to get me some.
wow. I
We'll
like
talk about that later off screen. But yeah, John's with us on Vikings here. Moving on, Bears at Cowboys. Q, what'd you think about this one?
I gotta go with my cowgirls. Not
But
my cowgirls.
Justin Fields looked so good last week. What do you mean?
He did, but the Cowboys, man,
You know,
they're just I don't know.
that defense is gonna put them through the ringer. Like the Bears are at like the highest they've been all season. They're feeling good about themselves, and they're about to feel really bad. I don't even like the Cowboys, man, but like
I don't like them at all, actually.
and I think their offense is maybe worse with Dak in. Like, I don't know. It was one game back at a Dak, but I don't think it looked that great. You want to see that guy, especially how long he took to get back because of how good the replacement was doing. Like, you expect Dak to come in and light it up. I don't know if that's what I would categorize the last game as. So,
Yeah.
but that defense brings it every week. Micah Parsons is a dog. He's going to sack Justin Fields at least 2 times. I'm going to make that bet. So get those player prop bets in. John's with us on the Cowboys. I'm taking the Cowboys as well, in case I didn't say that. Moving right along to the next game to keep things flowing here. Raiders at Saints. Who you got?
I have got the Saints.
Okay. Yeah, who's starting at quarterback for the team you're picking here?
I don't even know. I don't know if
Yeah, nobody knows. I don't think anybody
I
knows,
don't
man.
know. Yeah, I don't know what's
It's
going on right now.
it's particularly purposely ambiguous, I think. It's but
It's
honestly, does it matter?
Is it a game time decision? Who knows?
I don't know. I don't even know if that's. I think it's like, ooh, we don't like. We're not gonna tell. Ooh, anybody's guess. I don't know that it matters. They're different quarterback styles, but skill level wise, they're pretty similar. I think Jameis has a little bit more ability to go out and win you the game. He also has the
Yeah.
ability to go out there and lose you the game easier
Oh
too.
yeah.
Like, Dalton's going to be a little bit more conservative and just kind of play within himself a little better. But I don't think it
Yeah.
changes the scheme of the thing very much. Get your playmakers involved. Olave is just busting out rookie season. Love to see it. And hopefully he's healthy. Maybe I can get some other guys back healthy. I know Jarvis Landry and Michael Thomas been struggling with injuries. But you got AK in the backfield. You got Taysom, the do-it-all man Hill. I mean, he's always, prone to put up big weeks when the game script calls for it. So
Yeah.
I also have the Saints. But John taking an island game here. He's going with his Raiders because, you can go back and check out our playoff predictions episode. John had the Raiders winning the Super Bowl this year. So he's got to get some wins in here for the Raiders if that's going to pan out for him.
Hilarious.
So yeah, John's on an island for this one. Moving on to the next game here. Steelers at Eagles. Q, give me some color on this game. What do you think?
I'm going with the Eagles easily.
Yeah. I mean, this one's a real tough one.
Just it's no challenge. I think they're gonna blow them out. Steelers might not even score, honestly. They might get a field goal in.
Yeah, I agree with you. Actually, John and myself also took the Eagles. Let me ask you this. What team in the league would the Eagles have to be playing for you to predict them to lose this week? How many teams are there? The Bills. I know we're both high on the Bills. They played the Bills. Would you take the Bills right now?
What's that?
If they played the Bills this week, would you take the Bills or the Eagles?
Dude, I
like just asking like torturous questions, like not just like what's your pick. I'm like, hey, let's make you think here.
Hard, dude. Like,
how about the
Chiefs?
Chiefs?
Know. I think I would probably still I think I would still go with the Eagles. Like, they just look like, if we're looking at individual talent, then it's a different story. But like in terms of the Eagles as a team right now, like they're really moving as a unit. Like they're completely aligned on exactly how they need to be winning these games.
They're doing it, man. They really are.
They're doing it. Like they're gonna go on a run this year. Seriously, I think.
Go on one. What do you mean?
Well, they're on a run. They still got some more left to go, but
I mean, they keep getting teams like the Steelers. It's not going to end anytime soon. So I don't know what they have coming up, but I'd love to see them get tested a little bit more. I think their schedule. I mean, I think they've had some decent wins for sure. You're not going to talk bad about a team that's undefeated, but like I'd like to see them get tested a little bit more. Like I said, if they played like the Bills or the Chiefs, I'd take those teams over them in a matchup right now. Maybe just because of my homerdom too, I might take the Niners over them. But that's
their next 4 games are just so easy.
Yeah, man. And I love the coach there. Sirianni he's leading them, and that dude is animated on the sidelines. He's awesome in interviews. Yeah. We got something here. We got something in the NFC. People overlook the NFC when it comes to playoffs, and I'm thinking the NFC is going to take the Super Bowl this year, but that's for another time to talk about.
And one thing I want to add before we move on. So essentially for the next like 5 to 6 weeks, the Eagles have such an easy schedule. I'm curious to see the Eagles. I want to see the Eagles play the Giants. I really want to see the Eagles play the Giants.
Yeah, you never know what's going to happen, right? Like the Giants keep they don't look amazing, but they keep pulling out wins. They look like a team that knows how to win, and maybe they're the team that'll end.
They could be the upset for the Eagles.
Man. They totally could be. I would be very interested to see that. I wonder who the first one to take down the Eagles will be, and I wonder if that changes the dynamic, flips it on its head.
Yeah.
Other teams start smelling blood in the water, and they start taking down these Eagles. Who knows? We'll see. Yeah. Moving on now to the Patriots at the Jets. Jets no longer with Breece Hall. Man, do they stand a chance here in this game, Q? The Patriots don't they, the saying goes, if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks. So the team without their stud running back or the team with no quarterbacks? Who wins here?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with the Patriots here. I believe Bill Belichick he'll figure it out. He always does. He'll figure it out.
I'm with you. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see my man out there starting. You already know I'm Team Zappy. So especially if they start Zappy, I'm calling for the win here. If they start Mac Jones, who knows?
Yeah.
But I got the Pats here. But John went ahead and took another island game here. Not that he knows. I should mention we all do our picks independently without knowing what the others pick. So John has taken the Jets here. I don't know. Maybe he didn't get news of Brees Hall going down for the season. So
Yeah.
it's tough. It's tough one. But hey, you never know. I wouldn't be super surprised if the Jets pull it out. Let me put it like that.
I mean, we'll see. You got James Robinson, so we'll see.
Put it like this though. Odds are this is not a game I'm excited to watch. Probably not a lot of offense going on.
Yeah, it's gonna be a boring game.
Yeah, defensive minded teams. So moving on to another game I would not want to watch. Titans at Texans. Q, who you got in this one?
We got the Titans, and this is gonna be a boring one.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. So if they take your advice and they sit Tannehill and we get the guy, Malik, out of Liberty starting, the running phenom, the definitely less experienced passer, not been proven to the NFL level, would you still take the Titans in this game if they start the backup?
Yes, and I would do it because it's the Texans. Like,
Right.
if there's any game where you can give Tannehill some rest, it's against the Texans.
No respect.
And you could still win.
Yeah,
So,
and the Texans, honestly, their best offensive weapon, well, arguably their best offensive weapon, their best receiver, Brandon Cooks, the trade deadline is coming up here in less than a week now. He's one of the names that's being discussed as much as anyone. My guess is he gets moved to somewhere like the Packers where they need some receiver help, some veteran receiver help, because Aaron Rodgers is looking bad out there. So I'm guessing he gets moved, and I think that makes this an even tougher game for them to pull out an upset. I didn't even look up the odds, but I got to assume that'd be an upset. So yeah, I'm with you. I took the Titans, and so did John. So we're in agreement there. Next up, Giants at Seahawks. What you got?
we got the Giants.
I have the Giants as well. So does John. Anything else we want to mention on this? I mean, what are we going to see out of Geno? That's what I really want to know. I think we know what we're going to get out of the Giants. Probably nobody impressing us super hard except for maybe Saquon, and like somebody will make some good plays. But I'm actually I'll give the Giants this. Wan'Dale Robinson, I'm in. I like him. I think he's actually getting involved on a regular basis. He came in even on a limited snap count 2 weeks ago. He had like 25% of snaps, but his like targets per route run was like 50% or something crazy. Like when he was on the field, they were throwing the ball to him. Last week, he follows it up with a good performance. He had a higher snap count out there. Still think it was scaled back a little bit. I don't know if he was out there all the time because he's coming off of injuries. So like, I think we have a wide receiver one in New York now for the Giants. I think Wan'Dale is the guy that they want to go with. And Daniel Jones looks like he can get him the ball pretty okay now. And like I said, Daniel is not the guy to have the prettiest games, but they're pulling out wins, and I think they're gonna take the Seahawks down.
Yeah, I mean it's very, very much possible. The Seahawks got off with a win against the Chargers, so
They
I
could be
believe
good
it.
teams.
Yeah, I believe
they're in first place in our division right now. Can you believe that?
that's just insane.
You got teams like the Niners, you got teams like the Rams, and you got teams like the Cardinals in the NFC West, and the Seahawks, the Geno Smith-led Seahawks, are leading the way.
It's crazy,
man. I think we can all be rooting against Seattle here, right? Like,
yes.
Nobody wants to see that team in the playoffs.
Yeah,
nobody outside of Seattle. All right, moving on now. We got the Commanders at the Colts. Who you got?
I've got the Colts in this one. This is a tough one for me because I think both of these teams suck. But I think the Colts might be the better sucky team.
Interesting way to put it. So we already know now for the last, I think 2 weeks, maybe it was just 1 week, Taylor Heineke has been playing quarterback. since Carson Wentz had the injury. I think it was a hand injury. Can't totally remember off the top of my head. Are you aware that there's a quarterback change in Indianapolis? Matt Ryan has been benched. He has some. He's banged up for sure. I think they listed a couple injuries, but even before they came out with that injury report, they said, "Nah, he would have been benched anyway." We're moving on. It's Sam Ellinger. I cannot remember where he came out of from college. I had it, lost it. And I think Matt Ryan has officially been moved to number 3 on the depth chart, so might not even dress for the game. This is a full move on. I mean, especially with that contract, it's a weird look. Does that change this for you? I mean, the pick is locked in now that you announced it, but how does that make you feel knowing that they moved on to a rookie?
I think this gives Jonathan Taylor, more freedom, or they're going to depend on Jonathan Taylor a lot more. And Jonathan Taylor hasn't been really performing, which I think he can really do a lot better about. But, with the rookie in there, I feel like the coaching staff is just going to depend on Jonathan Taylor to kind of like have a lot more volume. Like usually he has like 10 carries. I think they're going to push him to like 20. We'll see him reach like 20 carries next game.
Yeah, and not for nothing, not just that he's a rookie, which is, I agree with you, that already would be the case, but I believe he's especially a fairly mobile guy, at least, and that tends to open things up for the other rushers on the team when there's an added dimension to the run game from the quarterback position. If they'd run a little option, you get one defender kind of frozen, and the guy as talented as JT is going to exploit that every time. So, and the game that he missed, the backup, Deion Jackson or Deion, whatever the hell that guy's name was, he lit it up. He was crazy all over the place. So I think Matt Ryan was just the pass rush was getting to him, man. He was looking old out there, and this guy is going to look young at least, and he's going to move around, and he might not look great through the air, but I think they have some decent weapons there. And with that O-line and that run game, I think that's going to help them. And the defense is always pretty good. So that said, I'm not going to call them to win this game. I'm going Commanders in this one. I think Heineke's a dude. I think he's a baller, man. He's not a top 25 QB in the NFL probably, but he's not afraid to sling it. We saw Terry McLaurin have a little revival midseason here. Carson Wentz did not like throwing to Terry McLaurin, but friggin' Heineke, just like going back to last year, McLaurin's his guy. He hyper targets him, and McLaurin looked good. I might be going out on a limb here, but I'm taking the Commanders. John's with you, though, on the Colts. Let's move on to the next one. This is the one we're most invested in. Let's be real. Rams at 49ers. Q, do I even need to ask you here?
No, you don't need to ask me anything. It's the Rams, and it's always going to be the Rams.
I get you.
Every week.
Yeah, similarly on my side, I am Niners, ride or die. John looks like he's with me on this one. He's got the Niners. All I'm hoping for in this game is CMC. I would like to see CMC show up in the box score and get some more work, but the main thing is no more injuries, man, for either of these teams. I hope both of them stay healthy. Let's take down the Seahawks. Let's be united in this and say let's not let the Seahawks win this freaking division. All right?
I would also like to see this trash running back that you traded me in the beginning of the season do some work. Like I would really
appreciate that. He's gonna get traded. I don't know when, but he's gonna get traded or cut. That's all the reports.
He's doomed.
Hey, I'd still hold him in fantasy if you got Cam Akers, by the way, because if any team does trade for him, or even if he gets cut and somebody signs him, like you don't just sign a guy or trade for a guy to do nothing with him. Like he's probably going to be at least an RB2 on whatever team he goes to, maybe the RB1 depending on the landing spot. So I think it was something with the coaching staff. There was some arguments or something because they said it wasn't even like talent based. So who knows? Yeah, maybe just a change of scenery.
Yeah.
So the Rams don't put you in the best spot to win as a running back anyway. So, but we'll move on here. Packers at Bills. Who you got here?
Got the Bills.
I have the Bills as well. I think I would take them over just about anybody in football. And John has the Bills as well. We don't need to say a lot about it. The only thing that would be worth note here is look out for, like I said, the Packers making a move at the wide receiver position in the next 6 days before the trade deadline ends. I think that could really help out that team because I think they'd like to just figure it out without doing something like that. That was the plan, but I mean, we're running out of time. They need to do it now if they're going to do it. And I don't think they make the playoffs if they don't make a move. So
yeah, that's the truth.
Yeah, and now moving on to the battle in Ohio, I guess, if my geography serves me, on Monday night. First off, I think this could be a better game than the other primetime game here. I think the Bills are going to trample the Packers probably. This one could be – it could end up a close game depending on what the Bengals look like coming out. Are they going to look like last week or the first 6 weeks? Who knows? But anyway, who you got in this one?
Got the Bengals easily.
Yeah,
especially after last week. They continue that, then I'll say, all right, maybe you guys are back.
Yeah, man, I was baiting you on that one. I got the Bengals. Like I said already, I'm a believer in Burrow for actually turning it around and keeping it going. If they don't, I think it's coaching decisions that are his downfall, not so much the talent on that team. I don't know if it's just the fact that I believe in them or that I hate the friggin' elf that the Browns have rolled out as their new mascot. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen in football. Why are you rolling on an elf in like a tough guy sport? I don't get it. But anyway, those are all our picks. Oh, by the way, John did take the Bengals with us as well. So we're all in agreement there. Okay, that does it for our Week 8 picks. Q, do you have anything else we need to let the people know before we jet on out of here?
That the Rams are going to beat the 49ers this week.
I mean, I don't know.
And it's guaranteed.
Wow. A guarantee. You heard it here. So Q is guaranteeing victory. I mean, even though they haven't seen success in the regular season against the 49ers in a long, long time. It is what it is, you know. We're going to have this conversation like 2, maybe 3 times a year, depending on how the playoffs shake out. So, yeah, man, go Niners. That's all I can say before we let everybody go. But, if you've been watching this long, Triple Cross, thank you, first of all. And also, please give us a like down below. Hopefully you enjoyed it. So if you did, drop that like on the video. Hit the subscribe button so you're subscribed to our channel. That's just signaling to YouTube that you like our channel, and it will show people that they think are similar to you, our channel more often. So that we can spread the love around a little bit. And, go ahead and drop us a comment on the video if you never had before. We always like to see what's going on, what people think. Tell us what picks you liked, what picks you didn't like. If any of our takes are smart, stupid, whatever the case may be. And until we see you next time, Triple Cross, keep it real, huh? Let's all do our best out there.